Welcome to another edition of the Paranormal Zone. I'm your co-host, Tom Spitalere. Tonight we'll be flying solo, but we have a lot to discuss. The Essex County Ghost Project is working on a huge October. Right now we should be breaking October's last year's numbers. We'll be real close as far as events in October and September and October. We're also getting ready now that the weather's finally breaking to start Haunted Hilldale back up. The most haunted cemetery in all of New England. So we'll be getting that back up probably within the next 2 weeks. So next week's episode, we should be announcing the first event of the year. We're excited. We're also working on events in Salem, Sandown, Hampstead, Kingston, Kensington. You name it, we're working on events all across the region of New Hampshire and northern Massachusetts. We're even looking at places in Raymond right now to do events this year as part of celebrating the 250th anniversary of America. So we got a lot going on. The New England UFO Association is getting ready to kick off some big events. We should have those dates booked and ready within the next 2 episodes too. So stay tuned because we got a lot to do and a lot to talk about. So what are we going to discuss tonight? Well, I think tonight, this year's been an unusual year. We've also booked a brand new paranormal event, a place that hasn't been investigated in over 20 years. We'll let you know when tickets become available for this great location. But it's the first investigation in over 20 years. You can be part of something big. So we'll let you know when that is. It is going to be in October. We don't have the exact date yet, but it will be in October. So with that said, we are now going to discuss some, reasons why you may be experiencing paranormal. That's one of the biggest questions we get. We've done this show before, but people keep emailing us and contacting us and saying, hey, what is the issues with paranormal? Why do they come and what starts them? Other than what you learn on TV, and it's not always accurate. So we're going to delve into this deeper tonight for the next half hour, 40 minutes. As long as the body can stay up to it, because we've been doing a lot of private home investigations recently, so it's got a lot going on here. So, with that said, there are geological factors. Underground water pressure caused by heavy rains, water buildup, and we've had plenty of heavy rains. Earth tremors or, earthquakes can get things shaking. Wind blowing through loose boards of your house, that's all it really is, and you think you got yourself a spirit. Small animals, little critters running around the attic, or even in the basement, or in the walls even, scratching your walls. Faulty wiring could cause the lights and appliances to malfunction. Railroad nearby and traffic. Yes, we had a case where there was paranormal activity, there was very high EMF. We had the railroad at high traffic. It was located in a very busy city, so that made it very interesting. We also did a house in a very small town up in New Hampshire where they would feel the house shake. Well, every time someone hit a pothole in front of the house shook while we were there, so we're able to debunk that claim. But there was that house in New Hampshire with the bump. We were able to prove there was paranormal activity in that house. House not properly insulated can give you cold spots. High electric magnetic fields, I'm talking about off the charts, can cause issues with you, especially if you're intuitive. Low decimal sound waves, you can't always hear them. You need a meter for that. Phosphorus gases or decaying matter, such as broken drains, carelessness and forgetfulness, and one's own imagination. So that's some of the factors that are out there. General signs of haunting are unexplained sounds, the tapping on the wall, the slamming of a door, the footsteps upstairs, the footsteps on the stairs, the knocking of the front door, wanting something to come in at 2 in the morning. You never allow that. Don't even check your front door. Just let it knock. You don't want to invite anything in. Lights and appliances turning on and off. Disappearing and reappearing objects. Your keys keep getting moved. That can happen. Your cat or dog or any animals, a mouse, a rat, chinchillas, anybody acting weird. Feeling like you're being watched. That happens to a lot of people. They feel like there's something over their back and they're being watched. Strongest signs of a haunting, so those are general. Strongest signs of mild psychokinetic phenomena, such as seeing something, it's not there. The physical touch, voices that you can hear, cold and hot spots, and smells. Those are the little bit more stronger ones. Extreme signs of a haunting, moving and levitating objects, physically being attacked or scratched. Always look at your body. If you felt like you had a rough night and you're alone, make sure you have no scratches or claw marks or anything like that. Writing or drawing on the walls, and partial or full body apparitions. Other things you can notice. Extreme signs of haunting. Moving and levitating objects, physically being attacked, waiting or drawing, writing or drawing on the walls, and apparitions. The more extreme the phenomena are, the better you get at getting help in using a qualified paranormal team that can handle this stuff. So that's some of the stuff we needed to go over. Let's see what else we're going to touch on tonight. What else? Oh, here we go. So if you have this type of activity, you always want to go through it and try to figure out what's going on, why it's happening, and what to call in, because obviously there are different ways of calling different people in. So But before we get into that, I would just want to go over a few basics for our new listeners that, hey, they caught wind of this fastest growing paranormal show on the air. An apparition is a full or formation of a spirit. So that's one of the ones. You've heard me use channeling before. That's someone that can channel a spirit or a being. Cleansing is a ritual use to release negative energy. That's usually what we do after an investigation. Inhumane spirits have never lived on this plane before, mostly known as demonic. If you have an inhumane spirit involved with you, you want to get some strong, great demonic team in there that knows how to handle those. Some of the best demon hunters live here in New England. So I would say if I needed to get a hold of a demonologist and needed help from a demonologist, I would probably contact Keith and Sandra Johnson. I would also look at getting couple teams up in New Hampshire that I know too. But those would be my, and then if none of those came through, then I would go get Carl Johnson, who's also a good friend of mine, who can handle this stuff. So the more important thing is after you're done dealing with spirits, you gotta cleanse the area either with sage or holy water. Make sure the owners are there so they can take back their house. While going through evidence, we listen for EVPs, electric voice phenomena. Those are for recorders. We're also looking to see if this is a mist, something, small, or if they're demonic or inhuman. They're demonic hauntings are inhuman spirits. They were never once humans. They were conjured in from another dimension. So that's one to keep looking at. And we keep moving forward with this. So some of the way we would go about looking for spirits would be, well, first of all, you give us a call, you tell us what's going on. We come in, we set up cameras all over the place. And then we start walking around looking to see and investigate what is there and what is causing, your keys to move, this to move, that to move. And then we go from, we continue to look around and see if you have portals or anything like that. If you don't, great. If you do, we try to close them, no guarantees. Something may or may not want to be closed, which is kind of sad. But in the same token, it can be. We also, while looking around and trying to figure things out, anybody's been to yard sales or something along that lines, flea markets, secondhand stores. There could be other issues in your house, like haunted objects. Essex County Ghost Project does have a haunted objects in their collection that they have taken out of homes, from paintings to dolls to toys to one of the most dangerous, in my opinion, toys that you could get at a toy store. Anyone know what that is? Give a minute to guess. If you haven't guessed it yet, it'd be a Ouija board. Now, we do use pendulums, we do use other means to send spirits back. So yes, there are many other things that could be just as dangerous as Ouija boards. But it's all about the knowledge and knowing how to handle them. And that's why I always suggested, if you're gonna bring a Ouija board to a party, make sure you have a professional or someone that understands what's going on. Or don't use it at all. I would suggest not using them at all. That's just my opinion. But when it comes to cleansing, whether it's a haunted object or anything like that, there's many ways to cleanse. What works for you, remember that. This is all got to work for you. You can use holy water, rosary beads, angel guides, various stones such as black obsidian or black tourmaline, sage. You get these haunted artifacts at yard sales, secondhand stores, family heirlooms, and gifts, especially gifts, especially if they're old. You know, grandma, grandpa pass away, the kids grab everything. Now it comes down to what the grandkids want. Grandkid one wanted this great painting on the wall because she loved it ever since she was a kid. Come to find out that great painting may have a spirit attached to it. So then we get called in and we have to get rid of because it's hard to dump the spirit out. It'll eventually find itself. It'll eventually find you as a host again, especially if you can't fight it off. So the best way is usually send them to a different location for a while. And that makes the most sense. So you'd find these at yard sales, secondhand stores, family heirlooms, and gifts. Some artifacts are little to no average attachment. Some artifacts that will have a Gessie attachment, an energy attachment, sorry, not Gessie, an energy attachment. Some artifacts will have a high level of energy attached to them. 3 times a month, I cleanse out the area where the spirit boxes and energy is held. Mixture for closing and locking down energy relief to the objects. Black obsidian. It's a protector. Black, it protects you from negative energy, banishes negative energies. Brown keeps your thoughts and conditions clean. And then elements of the family and friendly fire. So that's one thing you could use. The other thing is black tourmaline. This is great for absorbing electromagnetic fields, which is all around us. Ghost purpose is for protection and enhances the spirit. Yes. Okay. Through its energy patterns and conditions. Elements include earth and fire. Black tourmaline, great for let's see. We did that one. Juniper, used against the plague, disposal of negative forces from the environment. Juniper smoke also banishes spirits. Holy water, if you believe in it, you can use that. So these artifacts will be once brought inside a home, now hangs in a secret location to make sure they stay safe. The energies can and will haunt your house. If you think handling an object will check all the objects in a house using the same type of equipment. once identified, we ask the client if they want it destroyed, they want us to take it, or we just added a new repertoire, trying to get it out of them. We've always done it, but we never actually pushed and tried to figure that one out. And once identified, we'd have people come in and talk to the person that's being taken over and ask them to help them out by crossing the spirit that's so dark and long inside of them. Thank you. So with that said, once an object is located with permission granted and you don't want it anymore, if you want it, we're still going to sage, sea salt, and black tourmaline, obsidian, and holy water. And if everything goes as planned and the spirit is gone, we can either A, give it back to you that day, or B, most people just want it out of the house totally, so it goes to a top secret location. Another thing you can use is rosary beads. We use them up in New Hampshire where the client did not listen and we were coming in late. And not the client, sorry. One of my investigators didn't listen either on that one. And we used the rosary beads and we were choked because lady, we put the rosary bead, how'd the rosary bead? Oh, the rosary beads were in a wall, hanging off the top of the wall in this area, and they were just there for no apparent reason. When we took them down and had our psychics look at them, my other psychic said there's no apparent reason for that even to be up. I said, okay, thank you, we'll let the homeowner know. And then once a week you check the artifacts to make sure they're still in good order. There are too numerous ways for psychics and mediums that may choose to protect themselves. So some psychic mediums have angel guides, some use holy water, some use rosary beads, some use a cross that is, not modern but still gets the job done. So they don't look like they're getting the job done, so that's always a plus. Sage, like we said earlier, was the first to be burnt. That's always fun. Holy water, rosary beads, the cross, the furniture, and all that. And the rosary beads do help, so if you muster enough strength to talk to the rosary beads, they will give you advice on how to handle things. Before we continue on, I also like to thank Essex County Ghost Projects, ufologists, with everything going on here. So I would like to thank him for all his hard work and dedication. So that's another good thing. So, some of the equipment we use a K2 meter that picks up electromagnetic waves. We use an EVP that turns those waves into voices. So it's quite an interesting area called the Tilton Triangle. So if you want to get out there, come by Hilldale, get my phone number, and I'll get you in there. You sneak in, sooner or later you're going to get squashed like grape. So, with that said, I'm hoping we were able to draw some attention to some of our listeners tonight, and hoping they got some answers, because it's been quiet the last couple podcasts. We are bringing in people to help us with this podcast, but with everything going on, things are moving just a little slower than expected. But that's all right. I mean, we can deal with that. Some of the stuff we do use is a 35mm digital camera used to pick up EVPs. and anything voice phenomena. A digital camera, but I also use a 35 millimeter and a Polaroid. I still can get the film, but I use that very sparingly. If I only know there's definitely a spirit there, because the third spirit, as you go on and you keep investigating, sometimes those spirits do leave. So it's very important with a camera to get that picture, if you can. So that's good with a 35 millimeter digital camera. And you don't need the best. Just a simple point and shoot camera is all you really need to help you find out if your house is haunted. Video camera, it's the same thing. The older the video camera, the better. But the harder it is to watch and get this, the video cassette tapes you may or may not need. So that's always an interesting battle there. I like using the older video cameras because the aperture speed on the older video cameras are much slower and they're easy to work with and you pick up more evidence. EMF or electromagnetic frequency. Electromagnetic frequency and ELF is extremely low frequency. Those meters are used to pick up the frequency. Anything from 00 to 05 electromagnetic fields is safe. Anything over that, it's not safe. We've done many houses with very high EMF that we then have to find ways to ground some of that, especially if the family can't afford an electrician. But you want to try to keep that as safe as you can. We did a house down in Melrose where they had to get an electrician in. Another house in Havel where with the thermal imaging cameras you could see the electrical panel overheating. So I like to say sometimes we've saved a few lives too along the way. That's what we're here to do as paranormal investigators. Try to work with as many groups, as many people, and work hard. That's the key. Working hard. Once you know you got that, then everything else will fall into place. Thermometers, very important to get a base reading of a room, especially because paranormal activity is known if it warms up. If there's a hot spot later on, you can actually put it down as a hot spot. That's why it's important to go around the room on a pre-investigation and figure out where the hot spots are, and then go to the next cycle and find out why that's causing that. Some of the equipment, Panasonic RRDR60 with a memory recorder. That is probably one of the best ones out there, but I will tell you, I use cassette tape recorders, and we've gotten some great evidence with those cassette tape recorders. Yes, they're a lot longer to go through. Yes, it's a lot more work, but yes, the reward could be much greater. So, you ever think of doing that? Try to get that done, and good luck with that. Electric magnetic field readers, very important. Very important to have a K2 meter too and a Mel meter. They all do the same thing, but they read at different frequencies. And sometimes you get one of those to kick off the other one and not keep it running. So instead of having things slowing down, perceivably slowing down, you're out. The police can be doing other things like helping people, and if you keep those speeds down. But with the so that's a very important thing. Is the speed apertures in the cameras and the cassette recorders for EVP. The electric magnetic field reader, again, 00 to 05. Anything over that, you really need to look into and see what's causing this to happen. We've had a case, I think I mentioned it earlier on this podcast, down in Melrose, and between the train tracks, the wiring that was questionably put into the house, and the wiring that was outside the house. I had to get a digital reader because it was over 100 milligauss. We did get those people out, and eventually they were able to get some of that fixed, which was good. Because when it reaches that high, I mean, it's known to cause cancer, high EMF. So that's one thing to please look forward to checking and making sure you're safe on. And again, audio recorders are the best way to pick up spirit activity. But some of the recorders don't pick it up that well because they're trained to pick up, like, for rock concerts or meetings and stuff. So the earlier the recorder, the cheaper the recorder is, the better the evidence is gained. So that's some of the other things to look at. I did miss a section I do want to go over. We went over, different hauntings, but you can also have your land that's haunted. We've done houses on Native American trails all over New England where people say their houses are haunted, and then you go to the local, my favorite, go to the local, do research, the local museum and the local library. We actually had a town library tell us one day that the Native Americans never walked over these paths. Well, these were early English and colonial paths, which means they were probably Native American, and the colonials started using those paths and making them wider as more and more people came in and settled different parts of New England. So that's something to really look into and see what's going on, because the land can hold spirits from hundreds of years ago, if not longer. We have a few cases where there's land-based spirits as well as building-based spirits. Land-based spirits are very frustrating sometimes, hard to remove, hard to do a lot of things, but you can usually get them to help in other ways. So we're always looking for help. We always look for help in any way you can help us out, whether it's coming down to a case and working a case with us, coming down and watching the equipment at public events, or just showing up at our events, whether they're public, mostly public, and you want to come and say hi and learn more of some of the talks that we got coming up in places. Like, we don't have many of the libraries booked, but by the end of next week, we should have 3 libraries booked and a few other big events. So, but right now, if you're living in assisted living and you're listening to this podcast and you want to bring me in, I'm willing to travel in a reasonable area. So you can call 978-376-2807, and I can help you set that up if you need help and you want a paranormal investigator in October, or even September, or even right now. However you guys want the paranormal, I'll bring it to you. We'll bring it to you. And yes, we are still doing private homes. We're involved in a few right now where it's taking a lot of time and energy to deal with what's going on in the paranormal. So, like I said earlier, if you have a house that's got some issues, we'll be more than happy to look at it. You can reach out to Essex County Ghost Project at 978-376-2807. I hope some of this was helpful for you tonight. I'll be back with my cohogs next week. So we'll have a different type of show set up for you. It's been a very busy, draining week, not just in the paranormal, but with everything going on. The heat is back up here in the East Coast. We're dealing with the Canadian wildfires. I hope my friends in Canada that listen to this podcast are safe. We're sending prayers and healing energy to them. And we hope you guys stay safe right through. And if you're looking for fundraising coming up in August, September, or October, please reach out to us. We do paranormal fundraising, and I can explain it to all that want information. I do have it. I forgot to mention one other thing that It's very unique about Essex County. We also have a TV monitoring system. Unlike using computers when wireless, we're actually using old cameras that will record things at a slower pace, put them on the TV screen at a slower pace so we can actually pick up these haunted locations in your house and wherever we're set up at. That was the other thing. I totally just looking over my notes went, oops, we forgot all about that. But that's all right. That's what we're here to do, explain to the public what we're here to help our clients with and help you out. So with that said, I think it's time for me to head to the crypt. It's getting late. I'm getting tired, as you can probably hear. So I'm heading to the crypt. Good night, everybody. And I'll see you in the paranormal. Good night.